This video is a no-holds-barred best of DACs index in terms of sound quality, irrespective of value or price considerations, and without considering other additional features. So it doesn't mean if you add in other features like a preamp or headphone output or so on, that the higher up sounding DAC is better for your needs. This is purely a reckoning on sound quality alone. These are DACs I've reviewed and tried at home, as obviously I can only assess and benchmark what I review. Most follow their price, but infrequently not so, and understandably mostly the pricier DACs sound better. I'll keep on updating my index as I add new DACs, and this list doesn't just encompass my tastes, by the way, or the tonal qualities of hi-fi I like, but others too. It's about an overall impression where it's obvious, and we don't have to be embarrassed too saying a DAC is more musical. Please let me know what other DACs you've tried against any of these. So from 10 to 1, here they are. This musical Fidelity makes a case of being a first trade up separate DAC, particularly on its price. A half-width, small form factor DAC, which also gives you balanced outputs and line level outputs, unusual at the price. It's got a nice sparkly treble at the same time it's neutral with bass and treble, which isn't really contradictory. It isn't going to be anywhere near as good as DACs around £1,000, but this DAC is probably 70 to 80% of those in quality. It also offers a good trade-up option in hi-fi terms to many amplifiers around the £1,000 price point, where you'll improve on the shrillness of their DACs with a more meat-on-the-bones tonal approach, but at the same time keeping the toppiness and without that flatness and thinness in sound of really cheap streamers or DACs in integrated amps. The Cyrus is old hat now, but this preamp DAC has been discounted by £1,000 since the new Cyrus XR range recently came out. X was the old best model. Adding an R takes their range to familiarity of car and electronics nomenclature. But as a dual mono DAC which majors on detail, speed and dynamics, you'd do well to beat this preamp at around £2,000, about $2,700. I can recommend it if you want to get yourself a bargain at the moment. You want a great hi-fi DAC and analog preamp, which you can pimp with Cyrus's power supply called PSXR, which is a must use with this DAC. Not so much where David and Victoria Beckham supposedly conceived their first child, although Mytek do have a connection to New York. The Brooklyn is a standalone DAC and preamp. The news has just come out that Mytek are no longer using their old production company, so with the new model lineup, the Brooklyn and Brooklyn Plus are now obsolete models. That said, there are some to be had knocking around at the time of this video, which Mytek are still supporting by the way, and you can get yourself a really good discounted price. Careful system matching is needed because this DAC has exquisite detail projected in an airy way, which does really show of its mid-range, but you don't want to be pairing it with speakers and amps that are really forward. It's got one of the best displays and cases of its size and class, and it's terrific to look at. If you want build quality, simplicity and a spacious soundstage and lots of detail and micro detail from recordings, which means you won't be doing any foot squashing like in the last film, then this DAC is it. Qutest is simple and conceivably you could prefer it to the DAC I'll mention next, which is more, well, cute. But I think it would be hard to pull as much micro detail from a DAC at this price, which is well balanced and not in your face with treble too. It's also quirkily eccentric in its design and sample rate lighting used, as quirky as some weird organisation's convention meeting in a seafront hotel. Okay, how many times have I said this thing is good? RME, by the way, stands for Real Music Exemplified. Okay, I made that up, and anyway, it's a German company. But the amount of times I've gone on about this DAC, I should really call myself Simon RME Price. I say it when I have to because this performs as good as the Qutest in a different way, but with better connections and features, a 5-band parametric equaliser, and all at a lower price to boot. Just the better product. The amount that you can tweak is huge, and it has a manual you've got to study and study and study and study and study. I mean, you could actually do a qualification in the ADI2 DAC FS, even having to remember its name. I recently started using the RME with a pair of Adam Audio Studio Pro 5 headphones. It's obviously much more resolving and involving to Audio Quest Dragonfly headphone amp and DAC, and makes you really understand what DACs at this type of price do. This isn't a DAC which should have this price. The solid aluminium case, which is slabbed on all sides, is fastidious, and dealers normally see you coming with this type of build quality. But because of the direct selling model, price is kept low. It's an R2R ladder DAC type which has loads of character. In unpretentious terms, open mid-range, a slightly tonally warm presentation, but with a tempering sparkly top end, as well as really deep 4.5 soundstage. An interesting one for me is how will this rate against the Terminator? Well, I'll be back with that one. Sorry, I had to. At the time of watching this, check out my other films as I may have finished it. A kind of continuity message maybe. A guy just posted to my YouTube review of this DAC that it's one of the worst measuring on Audio Science Review. It's the usual, never heard of it, only rely on measurements type comment, and I'm not trying to sell anyone anything. I don't get paid for my reviews, I do this as a hobby at the moment, so all my views are totally mine. The reason to buy this DAC is for its non-digital vinyl-like qualities and a big soundstage, and its rich luxury sound. I think that's the best way to describe the DirectStream, with the sound of Sadie's smooth operator ringing in your mind perhaps. Forget old reckonings of the past about insidious edgy treble in DACs as to why your music must need to spin round and round. That thinking is obsolete, and this DAC therefore definitely suits John or Juliet vinyl. It's above the Denafrips Venus II in overall impression, mainly due to soundstage presentation, and you can also tailor its FPGA code to tweak the sound slightly by using firmware updates. Okay, I wasn't enamoured with the M scaler. I didn't think it brings value for money for every one of its bucks. But I love the Hugo 2 for its balanced, bass responsive, detailed, speedy and non-smearing incisiveness. These last three qualities are what sell this DAC in its precise way. It's flexible and well built and quirky with its volume ball dial, and has headphone use and can be used as a preamp too. The DAVE, or Dave, sounds like someone down the pub, supposedly takes its name from the film 2001 A Space Odyssey.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
But what was that line from Jackie Brown?
AK-47, the very best there is. When you absolutely, positively got to kill every motherfucker in the room, except no substitutes.
Nothing gets between me and my AK.
If you've absolutely and positively got to hear everything within your room, except no substitutes. Okay, slightly embellished for the sake of style, but I think the thing with this FPGA chord is that maybe not everyone will like the looks, but it pulls everything from the recording. Just in the same way I accentuated those syllables. It draws sounds that sit in the background to the foreground, and it's the equivalent of all the detail you might get in superb headphones, but listening to your hi-fi. What makes this product so pleasing is its ability to force you to go through all your music again. That's why I love trying it. Expensive, but if you have the money, why not? This is a pretty obvious winner of DACs tried so far. The quality of the box is frankly exquisite, with the bead-blasted aluminium slabbed sides. To get class-leading type detail as well as bass and treble balance from a DAC is incredibly rare, and this is why this beast is so damn good. Okay, it's forget buying a car expensive, and it's at polar opposites to what Gerard Ratner might think of his products.
I say because it's total crap.
But if you've got the system, boy will this show it off. It sits just before uber pricey 100 grand type hi-fi, and also offers something very premium, utilising its bespoke ring DAC technology. Is it value for money for me given my resources? No. Is it value for money for most? No. Is it value for money for some? Yes. Is it one of the best DACs you can buy? Absolutely.